Okay, so here we are today, continuing on our conversation with our alternate timeline personality. If you have not met your alternate timeline personality yet, that needs to be done first, and I've put a link to the video up in the right-hand corner of the screen and also in the description box below. You need to have met the alternate timeline personality to be able to continue through this week with these readings. If you've already met your alternate timeline personality, let's get started on today's video. Okay, take a moment to choose the pile that calls to you. Timestamps are in the description box below. Hello, Pile 1. Okay, we are on day 3 with the conversation with our alternate timeline personality. And today, the question that we are posing to them is, what is the biggest difference between you and me? Meaning, yesterday was the biggest difference between the timelines. Now we're asking, what is the biggest difference between your alternate timeline personality and you? So let's see what we have here. We have the Fool. We have the Two of Wands. And we have the Nine of Cups. Okay, so your alternate timeline personality is sharing with you that for them, every day is an adventure. Something new to look forward to, something to explore, something to really make them excited. Kind of like going back into childhood. Everything is brand new. These roses every day have a specific amazing smell that was a little different than the day before. And every day they take the time to go out into nature and just spend a little time also. Whatever their adventures are, nature is always a part of them each and every day. They really have no restraints about what they're going to do. No one is saying, oh no, you can't go there, you can't go here. Their timeline is quite free in that way, but every day for them is fantastic. Positive vibes, always. And with the Two of Wands here, they're saying that no one decides for them where they're going to go. No one tells them that, oh, this place is off limits, this one is not, you're allowed to go here. I'm getting the impression too that there's not a lot of fencing going on. Land is shared and respected. Obviously, that is a huge difference between timelines anyway. And they're also saying that the reason that things are this free is because they do not serve anyone. There are no people in their timelines that are better off than someone else and that demand service. What they do in their timeline is for the good of all. So they're not slaving for someone else. They're not standing there holding this tray and see the stance of this person here is, it's very difficult to hold this tray while this person is taking their sweet time deciding what it is that they want to eat or requiring that this person hold throughout the entire dinner. This is not how things work in their timeline. Whereas here, where we are, as a difference, oftentimes we do not look at each day as a gift. And we certainly cannot go wherever we want in the world. There are restrictions. And we still serve other people. So if this is what your alternate timeline personality is sharing with you, Obviously, there are some things that you are not in control of. Here, you're in control of how you greet the day. So this is a great place to start. The other things will eventually fall into line where if everyone is doing this and they're greeting the day with joy and positive vibes and going out into nature and putting a little of their child self into each and every day, eventually it'll catch on and other people will step up. And pretty soon it'll be like, well, gosh, maybe we should open up this area to make it a little more accessible for all of us. And then eventually here, what they see for us in the future is there will be no more serving in this way. Everyone will be equal. The energy will be equal. And there will be no one demanding all of our time to make them and their life so much better than ours. So that is the message for today from your alternate timeline personality. Until tomorrow, take care. Hello, Pile 2. We're going to jump right into this. The day's question for your alternate timeline personality is, what is the biggest difference between them and you? Yesterday was, what is the biggest difference between their timeline and yours? Today it's between them and you. So let's see what we have here. We have Judgment. We have the Seven of Swords. And we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so your alternate timeline personality is saying here that they are already awakened. They awakened a long time ago. The trumpet was blown, they were awakened. So they recognize their journey as a spiritual one. They understand that they are just living this human life as an experience for the soul. They understand that. They also are saying that they live by the universal laws. And basically what that comes down to is harm none. There's many universal laws, but if something happens, they don't punish on assumption. Their way of doing things is to go with universal law. And a lot of times, if someone does something that they shouldn't do, the universal laws will take care of it. They do not take other people's lives into their hands. But they also don't make assumptions about why a person has done what they've done without exploring why. There are many different reasons why the person in this card might have these swords, and it doesn't all have to be thievery. There are other reasons. Think about those. And they're saying here too that they learned a long time ago to respect the freedom of all creatures. They don't have zoos. They don't have sea creatures in captivity. They care for them all if they are in need. And then freedom is how this works. This is how they grow their soul. So your alternate timeline personality is telling you what they are like here. If any of these are not who you are, that shows you the biggest difference between you. If you are not spiritually awakened and don't realize that this human experience is just a way to grow your soul, there's more study that's needed. You need to awaken. If you jump to conclusions about what everybody's intentions are without really finding out what the foundation is for their actions, then you haven't reached this part of things and you are different than your alternate timeline personality quite in a large way. And if you don't believe in freedom for all creatures, people, and so on, and you do not act with that capacity, then again, this is a big difference. So these three things to your alternate timeline personality are very important. This is kind of how they see themselves and understand themselves to be. So if this is not who you are, then they're saying this is the biggest difference between them and you. And they're encouraging you to look into each one of these. So that is the message from your alternate timeline personality for today. Until tomorrow, take care. Hello, Pile 3. We are going to jump right into this. The question for today for your alternate timeline personality is, what is the biggest difference between them and you? Yesterday was what's the biggest difference between their timeline and ours. Today is the biggest difference between them and you. So let's see what the cards are. We have Death. We have the Four of Wands. And we have the Seven of Cups. Okay, so your alternate timeline personality is saying that any fear of death or any looking at death as an ending ended long ago for them. They began to understand that death might be an end to the current existence, but it was not an end to the soul or the end of their journey, their soul journey. It was the end of the earthly life, but the new beginning of either another earthly life or something else that they might choose beyond the veil. So they're saying that when someone passes, when there is a death, they celebrate. And keep in mind, too, that they're not just talking about death in the sense of someone dies, like is put into the cemetery. They're also talking when something huge changes in your life, whether that be changing relationships, a sudden ending to a relationship, or a sudden ending to a job, or a sudden ending to a way of thinking or a belief, or whatever it happens to be. These can be life-altering things as well. But they celebrate passings, cemetery passings. They also celebrate the changes, the big changes, the big transformations of life, because they know that it is as it's meant to be. There is a plan, and the plan, when it happens, is meant to be celebrated. And they know that after passing, they can choose any existence that they want. Anything, anywhere to try, anywhere to go. They don't have to have another earthly experience if they don't wish. They might wish to stay somewhere else in spirit. They might wish to go to another planet. They know that they have this option. And also with transformations, big transformations in life, in the current life, they know that they made those choices before they ever entered this human life. These are things that were chosen, that needed to be accomplished. So this is their belief system. And it works very, very well for them. So if this is not how you yourself believe, then this is a big difference between you and them. If you believe some of it, then whichever card here does not fit with your belief system is what they're saying is That's the biggest difference between you and them. So if you don't realize the choices that you made before you were born, or that you made those choices, that's a difference. Might be something to look into. If you don't celebrate death and transformation, that might be something to look into. And, if you don't look at a physical death as an end of a journey and a beginning of another, or if you're looking at transformation, the big events in life that don't seem very pleasant, as a thing to celebrate, that is something that they might be saying you might consider looking into that, because it is very much, all of this is a celebratory thing. Life in general is what they're saying should be celebrated, no matter what it is, and especially a person's passing and the big changes in life. So that is the message from your alternate timeline personality for today. Until tomorrow, take care.